In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to Tinytask the new JJK map. And of course, my method is optimized mainly actually to get more eyes over the capsules. But if you want to, you can easily change it to be optimized for capsules. By doing that, all you need to do is reduce about 5 waves on when I actually stopped. So the first thing you're going to do, guys, is before I actually show you my Tinytask, you need to make sure that when you start the Tinytask, if you're on one monitor, you can do it on one monitor easily. I like to start up near my icon. Tinytask, you use F8 to record, so I would hit F8, and then I would come down here and hit join, and then that will boot it up. And then once you're in the game, this is what you need to do. So once you load into the game, you can see here, I actually have this already recorded. I recorded my macro. So once I load into the game, you guys are going to see that I actually just sit there for a moment and wait. This is because I need everything to actually load. For all you know, one of these times when you're loading, for whatever reason, it may take a little bit longer for yourself to load it. But you can see that when I get in, I'm going to move my mouse. So this is the mouse on the macro, and then this is my actual mouse. So I'll move that down here. You guys can see that I am moving around my head. The reason is because that is around the center of your screen. And if you have a pop-up message that says something like, oh, the infinite run has been disconnected, you need to close it. And that's how you close it. Then you're going to want to spam the summon button a few times to make sure you actually get it. Do not change your camera angle. Whatever you do, do not change your camera angle. You guys can see that I start to run out of the summon area. Do not change your camera angle. You can see when I go in here, guys, you need to move a little bit extra. You need to hit jump a few more times. You need to go side to side to make sure you actually get in. And then here is an important part. Make sure you do not actually scroll down with your mouse wheel. You have to click and drag the bar on the side. You have to manually drag it all the way down like so. I do it a few extra times just to make sure we actually got it to work, and then you can boot up Cursed Academy. Now do keep in mind, this macro actually really only works with 2 units, and that's going to be Stark, Jalal, and I guess Bulma. Now, don't be worried, don't click off because you heard Jalal. I know a lot of you don't have Jalal, and don't worry. You can use Miriam right in Jalal's place and it will work the exact same. You could also use, if you wanted to, Urza Lightning. There's a lot of options you have. Just someone who can cover airs. That's all you need. Anyone who can cover airs, that's a decent level. So I'm going to play the video now. And we can see that, guys, once you load in, just wait. Do not click anything because what you want to do is give yourself time to load in. If you have a slow load, like you guys can see here, this is actually a crazy long load. But we can see once I load in, I wait even longer. I do not start until I see the pop down, just like that. I see the pop down, wait till about 20-ish seconds, and guys, make sure this macro is for the north spawn. There are 2 spawns. Your camera angle can be north, or your camera angle can be east. If you want to macro the east spawn, this is not the video for you. I am showing you how to macro the north spawn because I think it's a lot easier. So wait, and when you're recording your macro, if you're not looking forward, just re-record the first few steps. What I do is I zoom out, I hold S, hold jump for a little bit, and then I sprint, holding S once again. And once you get here, guys, I'm going to slow it down a little bit, I'm going to pause it. So once you get over here, there is a gate right here. This is where they come out of. There's a gate with 2 pillars on the sides. Jiggle between the gates, and what I do, you can go to the left side or the right side. I went to the right side. All you got to do is hold S and D to get to the right side, or S and A to get to the left side. Make sure you're in this pole area, because now every time you play, you're going to get there. Now, you're in the same exact spot as you will be for every north-facing run. At that point, just walk out, and I zoomed out, you really don't have to. And keep in mind, you may not have fire curses straight away like I do, you may have slower units, but some runs you will get fire curses. So make sure you place your first unit up here. If you're doing the exact same team as me, this is where I placed my first Stark. If you don't do this, guys, first round, you could get this guy, and you could be like, okay, I'll place my Stark here. If you do that, these fire curses are gone, okay, and they're going to kill you. So make sure you place your first Stark up there. And then what I do, and I suggest you do this as well, this is something that I don't see other people do when they record Tinytasks, but always make sure to double place your units, okay? If for whatever reason, on one of the times you're recording, you didn't have enough money, okay? What I do is I would place the unit like I would in my first run. And then what I do is I constantly replace it back. You can see I click on it. I go to where it should be, I click on my mouse button, I drag away, I hit Q, okay, and then I click down. Because if you don't click then if you were to just place it that second time, the pop-up menu would be up, and that could screw with something. Another thing to keep in mind, I think I forgot to mention this. I did it here, and that's part of the reason why I actually replaced my unit. When you get your income, do not place your unit immediately. This is dumb. Don't do this. When you're recording your Tinytask, wait for this timer to be done before you place your unit. So I should have placed my unit right now. And I think that's part of the reason why I actually replaced it. I noticed my mistake while I was recording and fixed it. So just know, whenever there's a wave skip, when you get money, guys, don't start upgrading, don't start placing monies until the timer in the top right is actually gone, because that can really screw with your run. And now, after I placed one of my Starks, I'm going to place down my Bulma and place a few more. Now, another thing I would like to mention here, please do not place your units too close to the track. There's a chance that your placements are actually off by just a slight bit. For all you know, it could be the tiniest bit, but if you place your Starks right on the track and you are off by the tiniest bit, you could be trying to place your Starks on the track in your macro. So make sure you place stuff away from the center of the path, and you can see here, once again, I am double placing the units like I recommend. And now, when it comes to upgrading your Bulma, guys, you're gonna want to do this a lot. Could be a chance that your upgrade doesn't go off, and so make sure you click that button more times than you have money for. You can see here, guys, that I am clicking the button so much to make sure that everything goes well. And also, on this upgrade 4, the hitbox, or whatever you call it, the upgrade box actually goes up, okay? And so what that means is that if you did not get to that upgrade because you didn't have enough money, you're going to be clicking in the wrong spot for the rest of your game. You will never max out your Bulma, meaning your income will be off for the entire game. Now, I'm going to pause it here for a second, because you can see that I placed my other Stark. I'm going to soon be selling the one in the back and replacing it, but we'll see that in a second here. And we can also see that I'm starting to place my Jalals. Now, if you had Lightning, Urza, place them up here. And if you are bringing Miriam, you can place these in the same spot. I did make a big mistake. I did not double place my Jalals. And you're going to see in the time lapse of the macro working after I explain it, you're going to see that that was a mistake. But it still worked fine for me. Okay, it still worked fine, but it was a mistake, guys. Make sure that you double place your units. When you place it down, all you have to do, I'm going to reenact it right now. I go over to the Jalal, click. I go over to the exact same place I just placed it. I click again, okay? And then I drag off, I hit Q, and then I click again. That's all I would do to make sure I am double placing my units. If you ever miss a placement, and then when you're playing back the Tinytask, that unit isn't there, it's really going to mess up your defense. That is the most important part, because upgrades you can just spam over and over again, but if you don't have the unit placed, then nothing's going to work. And here we can see I waited to have a lot of extra money, because this is a very important upgrade. You're going to see here that the hitbox of this upgrade gets pushed up. And so now, if you were on the wrong upgrade, when you click on the Bulma, you should be clicking here, but instead you're going to be clicking up here. So you need to make sure that you did that correctly. And right now, you can't tell, but I'm clicking a bunch on that spot. I'm clicking a lot, because I want to make sure that I get that upgrade right, because if you don't, it's really screwed up. And then we can see I do click off finally. And now we're just sitting at 13k, and I will go back and upgrade the Bulma again. This is because we're going to be attempting to max out the Bulma. You guys can see that I did give it a bit, because I wanted to make sure that I actually did get to the upgrade 4, because if you're on upgrade 3 and you're trying to click in the location for upgrade 5, you're never going to upgrade your Bulma. So it's very important you get that Bulma correct. We can see here I waited a little bit before I clicked that, because Bulma is probably the most important part, and I click it a little bit extra just to make sure I did nothing wrong. And that's because if you don't get your Bulma maxed out, guys, your entire eco will be messed up. Here we can see we sell our Stark and we actually move him back here, and these are the only units I have placed all game. And now what I'm going to do is I did that mistake again, guys. I upgraded before the timer ran out. So you can see that I actually clicked extra. Now the only reason I did that, just make sure you do not go past upgrade 4. You guys can see here that when the timer started, I instantly started upgrading. I should have waited for this to be done. And because I realized that once the timer ran out, because I was under 6k, I started clicking it again to make sure it did actually upgrade in the future. And now, basically, guys, we're going to be maxing out our Starks. It's going to be just like that. We're going to be maxing out our Starks to upgrade 4. And I don't think anything went wrong with that. I wanted to make sure that was all good. We did double place our Starks, but we didn't double place our Jalals. So when you guys are recording this macro, please remember to double place units. And because if you don't, that could be bad. It could be really bad. You can see here the wave was completed. I know this is the wave 10 boss. I also know that air units are coming soon, so I'm going to start upgrading my Jalals. I waited for the timer to run out, and bam, I started upgrading each of them 1 tier. That's what I do, because I think that moves them from, I think it's about 1,000 damage to 3,000, so it's definitely really good. We put more money into our Starks. And if you didn't know, wave 10, Death Painting Curse is a guaranteed. Every wave 10 will be this boss. And so if you're going for eyes, make sure you actually go to wave 30. Because if you're going for eyes, if you go to wave 30, you're going to get 2 chances at an eye boss. If you go to wave 50, you will get 4, but wave 30 to 50 takes so terribly long that it's a lot faster to actually just go to wave 30. You can see here that we start to upgrade our Jalals a little bit more. We're sitting on a bunch of extra cash. I'm not constantly making sure I'm at 0 money, and that's because if there's ever a situation where a secret boss spawns, this is important to note. If a secret boss does spawn, the time it will take to kill will mean the wave lasts longer. If a secret boss spawned right now at wave 11 on my Tinytask when I'm not recording the Tinytask, if I'm not recording the Tinytask and a secret boss did spawn, what would happen is we would kill it, but it would take longer, which means the wave would not skip as fast as it would right now when I don't get a secret boss. So by the time I kill the secret boss, we'll move up to wave 12. For all we know, the run with no secret boss is at wave 13. So, unfortunately, I didn't get a secret boss this run. So what happens is, for all we know, right now, when we get this income, right now, I'll show an example right there. Wave completed, I just got a good bit of money. For all we know, if we had a secret boss this wave, this money would not be here yet. This money would still be waiting. And so keep that in mind, and that is why one of the most important things, besides double placing your units, is to always spam the upgrade button. Because for all you know, your income could be completely mistimed, and that maybe not be your fault. It could totally, definitely be a secret boss's fault. But if it is off, you need to always click. That's why you see me click so much when it says not enough money, because I am making sure, you can see here I even did it with my Bulma, and I clicked there a little bit so you could tell that in case I never got to that upgrade, I fix it right there. And that is because you need to make sure your Bulma is maxed out all the time. If it isn't, you screw up your run. And you need to make sure that if the secret boss does come and messes up the pattern of where you're getting your money, when you're getting your money, then you need to make sure you're upgrading your units more than you can afford. And that's because if the eco is off, then you are upgrading the units when you have a little bit of money. I'm going to skip ahead a bit here because right now I'm currently just upgrading my units. I'm not doing anything special. I believe we can see I'm up to 20k. And you guys can see that I wait a little bit longer than I should to actually upgrade my units. And that's because I want to make sure I always have extra money like I've mentioned before. You can see I'm clicking, like I was mentioning earlier, I'm clicking when I don't have enough money. In case the round timer is off, I want to make sure I have that all right. So, you guys are going to see here, we will go up to wave 20. We don't do anything special in between here. It's just me upgrading. And we can see wave 20 comes at a Worm Curse Leader. And because I wanted to make sure I killed this boss, I actually started upgrading my Jalals like crazy. And, I mean, you guys don't have to do that. If you time your upgrades throughout, when you're playing and stuff like that, then you really won't have to do that. And here's another really good example. You can see here that I made another mistake. We can see here, wave completed. There's still 4 seconds left on the timer. I just got 15k. I'm like, oh, I have to kill this boss. I quickly go over to this Jalal and max it out. When in actuality, for all we know, my eco may not come for another second. And so when that second ends, I go back to the Jalal and click that button again. Always do that because your eco, I don't know how many times I need to say it, but I want to make sure you guys understand that your eco could be completely mistimed when you're recording a Tinytask. And so you want to be upgrading your units when you think they should be upgraded, because you want to make sure you actually are upgrading them so that your Tinytask works to its full potential. Now, a side note I want to mention here, we're on wave 24, I just skipped ahead a little bit. When you are looking for the capsules, if your goal are, I think they're called soul stars, if your goal is soul stars, stop right here. If you get no secret bosses, stop at wave 25 through 27. If you do get secret bosses while you're recording your Tinytask, stop at wave 23, okay? That is because if you stop at wave 25 or 27, when you don't get any secret bosses, that allows time for secret bosses, because on a secret boss run, that in actuality could be wave 23 or 22. And that's why we just do that to make sure it's even. Alright, so this is where you would want to sell if you were looking for soul stars. If you're looking for eyes and soul stars, just not as efficient, keep that in mind. You guys are going to want to sell a little bit later. And I do want to mention something here. I decided that I only wanted to do one more upgrade. The reason is because I wanted to make sure that if I ever had eco off, if my eco was ever off by a little bit, I wanted to have extra money for the rest of the game to spam on a bunch of upgrades to make sure they're actually maxed out. So we maxed out all 4 of our Jalals, because that is important. If you have Miriam, max out all 4 of them. If you have Stark, keep them on upgrade 4, I think it is. And then, at the end, the last thing you probably want to do is max out 1 of your Starks. That's what I do. You guys can see I'm clicking this button a lot. We'll skip 30 seconds ahead here. I'm clicking that button a lot to make sure I actually do max it out. We got 30k. This was enough to max it out. I wait for the timer to be done, like you should be. And then I also wait a little bit longer, and bam, I upgrade it. That's the Stark fully maxed out. I click it a bunch of extra times, and now I'm going to go back through, and I'm done. This is all the upgrades I did for this. I do no more upgrades. The only thing I do throughout the rest of this entire clip is waiting and also making sure these units are maxed out. I'll show you right here. See how I go around and start spamming the max button? That is because if any of them didn't get maxed out and my eco was off, but now I have enough money because I was just sitting on it for a bunch of rounds, it's going to now max them out. So we can see, guys, when you are looking for the eyes, when you're looking for eyes, and of course, still a chance for the soul stars or whatever, probably a little bit lower though, what you're going to want to do is actually go to wave 30. But do not sell at wave 30. If you sell at wave 30 and you got secret bosses in one of your Tinytask runs, you're going to be selling at like wave 28. So we're going to see here that I do go ahead and kill this worm curse leader, no problem at all, right? We do take him out here, and then I wait. I'd say I wait till like wave 33, 34, and then I actually sell my units. So I'm going to show you how I sell my units because this is quite an important part. So if you guys are doing exactly what I'm doing, stop around 33 or 34. If you get no secret bosses. If you do get secret bosses, I would recommend stopping probably around 31, 32, kind of when you kill the boss off, because you should be fine. But we can see here, guys, this is where I'm like, okay, I think now is a good point to sell. I should be safe. So you're going to want to do selling as you would, but make sure you double sell. If you miss a sell, okay, this isn't the most, I guess it's not the most important part, but if you are looking for the XP reward, then you need to make sure you do this part. You need to double sell. For all you know, you could miss the sell one of these times. If you're off by a few pixels, you could miss it. So always resell and make sure you're selling in a different spot. Like, there's a big box here. So if you click here the first time, try to click over here the second time or something like that. So we're going to see here, I memorize where that location is, and I click back and I click on it again. Okay, it's not too hard to memorize where the past location was. I did mess up a little bit. When I tried to double click, I actually clicked on the second Stark. So I went back and made sure I double clicked both of them. And then the last one, and then we can see here, we double click and then we go here. We're going to do it again as if the unit was still there, didn't actually get sold, like so. That's all you're going to want to do, guys. And now it is just a waiting game. This is another important part. The fastest unit in this area are the fire curses. But there is a chance that on one of these waves you don't get the fire curses to spawn. For all you know, you could only get the wind curses. So what I do is, you guys can see early, pretty early, I lose to these fire curses. But I'm like, okay, well, what if I didn't get fire curses that wave? What I do is, first of all, I wait a little bit, and then I go over to the next button, and I just start spamming in that spot. I don't change it. I've been spamming this entire time, you can't tell. But I actually wait for wind curses to die. I'm watching them. Okay, I have the little health bar thing at the top on. I watch, and as soon as they start disappearing, I'm like, okay, now I know I'm actually dead. So no matter what, the wind curses will kill you. The fire curses could get ahead and kill you a little bit sooner, but just to be safe, I wait a little bit longer here. And then this is when I go back to the Tinytask and I stop it. And now I will show you guys what the Tinytask actually performs. And by the way, for asking where to stop it, I will show you real quick. So if you do exactly what I did, you start your Tinytask up here. My Tinytask keybind is F8 to record. I would hit F8, go down here and hit join, and then I did exactly what I just showed you in that video. So when I end it, I'm on a second monitor, but you can do it on the same monitor by, first of all, like minimizing it and using Alt-Tab, I'm pretty sure. I don't exactly know how, but you can definitely figure that out very easily. But on a second monitor, I go my mouse over to my second monitor like so, and then if this was my second monitor, I would go back to the icon where I started and hit F8 once again. Of course, save your macro, and then just put on limitless repeat or whatever and start it up. The macro works well for you guys. Let me know down below in the comments. I'm gonna show, well, actually, I'll say my goodbye right now. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I am actually gonna show a time lapse of the macro working in a game, so you guys know it works. So if you want to skip to the end of that time lapse or whatever, you can feel free to do so. But that's basically just a time lapse of the Tinytask working in a game. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Let me know how it works down below in the comments. If you found the video helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Join my Discord server linked in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.